Technology pulls us in by telling us how good-looking and smart we are, and hey, you've got a nice butt. Hey, you're listening to Amy Says Things, where I bring my writing about dogs, neurodivergence, and whatever's on my mind to life. I'm Amy, freelance writer, professional dog trainer, and neurodivergent goblin. Let's get into it. Today we're diving into something that's got the internet and medical professionals pretty divided. Self-diagnosis of ADHD and autism. You've probably seen the TikToks, the put a finger down videos, comment sections full of people going, "Oh, wait, that's not normal?" So what's going on here? Is it genuine awareness helping people finally understand themselves? Or is it TikTok brain rot convincing perfectly neurotypical people that they're neurodivergent? Spoiler alert, it's complicated and messy and a little bit of both. For the undiagnosed, life is a series of blue shells on a Mario Kart track. Anxiety and self-doubt are constant companions. Our outward symptoms get misdiagnosed while the underlying causes remain invisible. Discrimination around queerness, along with unemployment, addiction, and incarceration, drag us into cycles of poverty that we can't escape. We're told that our wasted potential is our fault, leading to higher rates of PTSD, eating disorders, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Life has us burnt out, and we don't even know why. Here's what's wild. It's estimated that about 15% of the population is running with a Linux brain instead of Windows. But in the US, only 7% have been diagnosed with ADHD, and a mere 2% have an official autism diagnosis. That means millions of people are suffering without ever realizing why they're different. Think about it like this. Lefties will tell you that it's frustrating living in a right-handed world, but we adapt. There are workarounds, but it's harder to find solutions when the answer isn't as easy as noticing which hand a baby prefers. Your family's normal might feel familiar, but look alien to your neighbors. So, how do people figure it out? Well, increasingly, it's through their phone screen. Labels are powerful, so when social media gives us one, it's hard to ignore. We end up jumping down a rabbit hole to understand ourselves better, but it doesn't always lead to the truth. Get this, 30% of people under 30 believe that they're neurodivergent, which is higher than the actual estimated numbers. Short-form videos, listicles, and quizzes that are a mixture of genuine neurodivergent symptoms and common experiences get warped in a funhouse mirror where we see what we want to see. When curiosity meets hyperfocus, we lose hours, days, digging for answers. When we finally come up for air, we build a detective wall with more questions than answers, and it screams Bigfoot conspiracy. It's Schrodinger's diagnosis at its finest. I mean, sure, our kid, niece, or nephew, or grandchild was diagnosed, and doctors mentioned that it's genetic, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Or should we get offline and touch grass? Here's the thing about algorithms. They're really good at figuring out what we're interested in, but they don't care if the content is realistic or truthful. 15 to 60 seconds is barely enough time to get a simple idea across, let alone a complex one. In an ideal world, media literacy would help us separate facts from nonsense, but we're pretty terrible at it. Entertainment is king. Algorithms push engagement and rage bait to us more than thoughtful, well-researched pieces. Short and long-form videos give an illusion of truth, and we mistake our wading into the shallows for a deep dive into a topic. It's easy for a creator to lie if they say it with conviction, and we keep falling for it because it feels right. AI does this on steroids. Your favorite chatbot posing as diagnostician isn't accurate. It gaslights you by nodding along. Its false confidence fuels our hopes and fears while twisting them into heroes and monsters, all the while steering us away from reality. Even search engines can lead us astray. The way we phrase questions changes our results. Our bias is baked into that query, giving us the answer we already had in mind. Ask anyone who believes the earth is flat who, quote, did their research. Technology pulls us in by telling us how good looking and smart we are, and hey, you've got a nice butt. It wasn't designed to tell us the truth. Medical professionals are understandably frustrated by this. Their expertise means nothing in the face of the evidence we've uncovered in our shallow deep dive. In a perfect world, we'd see a doctor first for a medical diagnosis, but the world is messy and broken. So why don't people just go to the doctor? Let me lay my own cards on the table here. I have an ADHD diagnosis from a professional, but not one for autism. She noted autistic symptoms, but we didn't take it further. There's lots of reasons I think I'm autistic. Family history, childhood experiences, symptoms, and masking all point to it. And maybe I'll get an official diagnosis, but it won't stop me from making accommodations that help. Let me be clear. If you think you might have a medical or a psychiatric condition, you should see a licensed professional. The internet may be our first stop, but it should never be our last. Unfortunately, though, most people don't seek advice from a professional. For neurodivergent people in the United States, our unemployment or underemployment is a major factor. Without access to affordable health care, we're stuck. If we do see a doctor, they refer us to a specialist, as they should. But this means more waiting, hoping that they're affordable and within our network, and testing. If we don't happen to live in a large city or near one, specialists can be hours away. It's long, expensive, and time-consuming. Is it worth the hassle if there's not any expectation of accommodation? Countries with more robust healthcare systems, like England, face different barriers. Wait times for specialists can be years long, and paying for it privately can cost upwards of £800. That's over $1,000. If you're in a low-wage job due to a criminal record, substance use disorder, severe depression, or even a disability from a chronic illness, it's out of reach too. Anxiety is common among neurodivergent people. Who would have thought that constantly monitoring our behavior so that we appear neurotypical would be bad for your mental health? Social struggles are already a hassle and a half, and worrying about being called a hypochondriac or a drug seeker just makes it worse. Autism and ADHD were seen as white boys' problems until recently. There are lots of clinicians who still hold this belief, leaving adults, minorities, women, and girls behind. And if we're smart enough to be labeled as gifted, or if we learned how to mask our symptoms early on, we pass under the radar. ADHD plus autism is surprisingly common, but it gets missed when autistic rigidity is tempered by ADHD impulsivity. An official diagnosis is bittersweet. I'm relieved to have a name, but sad I carry a label. It's not the first time I've been down this road, but it still took time to come to terms with it. But there is hope. Telehealth visits make it easier to see doctors. We can bypass our social anxiety and remain in a safe place while we deal with our fear of people in white coats. Healthcare should be accessible to everyone, and using technology within the system is an important step towards this goal. As we understand the lifetime impacts of undiagnosed neurodivergence, we're seeing more adult diagnoses, particularly with inattentive ADHD. Studies are broadening to see how race, ethnicity, and gender play a role in how our symptoms show up, and this means everyone can get an earlier diagnosis. Online communities bring acceptance, support, and help. As awareness grows, it becomes less stigmatized. And social media shines here as neurodivergent creators share their lives online and raise more awareness. So, where does this leave us with self-diagnosis? Online spaces generally agree. Get a medical diagnosis if you can, but given the significant barriers we face when it comes to getting one, self-diagnosis is valid. Sure, we may have been bamboozled by our feed, but if we like to problem solve with a STEM toy in hand, what's the harm? But self-diagnosis comes with responsibility. Anyone using a psychiatric disorder as an excuse for bad behavior is avoiding accountability. I mean, seriously, Kanye? Oops, all autistic is bullshit. Do better. Even if we miss social cues or come off in a way we didn't mean to, we should own our mistakes and learn from them. We have to make changes so that we're better parents, partners, and friends to those around us, instead of blaming all of our problems on neurodivergence. Look, I get why medical professionals are frustrated, but I also get why people are turning to TikTok for answers. The system is failing us, and people are only doing what they can with the tools that are available to them. The reality is, regardless of whether or not we're official, we finally have the tools in hand to get the support we need. So use them, diagnosis be damned, and make your life better. That's a wrap for today's episode. Next time, we're going to tackle something fascinating: why nearly half of queer people are neurodivergent. What's that about? Do you have an official diagnosis or self-diagnosis? What tools or strategies work for you? Hit me up on social media. I would love to hear your story. Thanks for tuning in to Amy Says Things. If you liked what you heard, subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and leave a 5-star review if you're feeling generous. Until next time, take care of yourself and your neurodivergent goblin.